Actually be able to see the radiusing that is actually designed into that bend. And one way I can help you to see that a little bit better, if I take a straight edge and we should be able to see that there is a radius here. And that should be able to help you visualize what we just did. And some people will want to leave some here on the end and bring it around, join in the middle. There's two techniques, doing it that way or bring your treble side and join right there, reducing the need for an extra joint. And that's how you take a cutaway. Next we're going to show you how to bend a standard side. And once we do the standard side, we're going to show you how to do the geometry to set up for the body. And it's going to be the same no matter whether it be a cutaway or a standard. So in a few minutes, you'll see how we bend a standard side guitar. Hi, you saw that we just did a cutaway. We're now going to do the standard. You need two sides, the right and the left. And again, you can see I do pre-profile all of my wood. This is a piece of mahogany. Mahogany has a tendency to want to spring back a little bit more than the rosewoods will do. Again, a light spray. I don't soak. I don't use super soft. I just use water. I'm going to put this in my machine, and I'm preheating my machine up a while. I have already bent a side, so I want to bend the matching side to this. The side that I bent would have been, I need to put it on this side. Always think when you're bending here, you want to bend one flat on this side, one flat on the other. Otherwise you're going to end up with two sides, the same bend. You can flatten these with a clothes iron and rebend them if you have to. So we put it in. Again, just like the previous video, I have everything kind of aligned for a little bit of friendly friction. I don't want this to be sloppy. We know that we want the end at the neck joint to here to be about 12 inches. And that's a simple way to do it. Right here, and it goes. And one way you can check this, put your thumb in the bend, come down. My pattern is actually wider, larger than it has to be. So as long as I'm down below here, I know I have plenty of wood. I have it aligned at its parallel to the pattern. And now, I'll put my hold downs in. Again, it's a slat, wood, slat, and blanket. I do not put the blanket on top of the wood. It will raise the grain and give you some work that you really do not want to do. My wood is dried out a little bit, which is normal. I'll just add a little bit more water. I'll check my temperature, and as soon as this hits about 220 to 240 degrees, I'll begin bending. Sometimes I use this little thing. I like these under tension. You can use a block of wood. It just happens to be a piece of metal that I have here in the shop. I've reached my target temp. It is now 12:42. And again, note the time. 4 to 5 minutes, I will be totally, completely done bending. Lower bout has been bent. The springs did all the work. I'm a little damp, but I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And again, the springs are doing the work. I'm not pulling. I'm letting the springs work the pattern, and I'm walking it down. Now, all I got to do is run the waist, and this will actually pull the sides against the pattern since we're kind of locked on both ends. Gives me a very repeatable process, and that is it. My temperature is around 315 degrees. This took me about 3.5 minutes. I will allow the heat here, because it's mahogany, to go about 350 to 375, and then I will turn it down to what I call a cool down cycle that's somewhere around 220 to 250, just to cook out the excess moisture. Allow your wood to reach room temperature before you take it out of the bending machine. I have now reached my temperature, so I'm going to turn my unit back. I have previously bent a piece, and I will literally let the mold sit on top of it and hold the shape until this piece is done, at which time we'll show you how to set the geometry up on the side set and fine-tune things, so down the road when you do your next set you can avoid the dreaded 14 fret hump. Anyway, we'll show you the rest of this in a few minutes. Okay, we have a pair of sides taken out of the bending machine. We're now going to trim them up so that we can do the process of what we need to do in the mold to set the geometry up. Again, you may be able to see some of the geometry that was rough-sided in, but you'll be able to see that very clearly in a few minutes. I put my side into the mold, I press it in firmly, and I'll make a mark at both ends of the mold. That way I know where I need to trim to. I have a flat side and a flat side, and these sides are curved, and you can see when I put them against each other how the neck area tends to separate. Here they're pretty true and they almost join up. So now I'm going to cut these off, put them in the mold, and we're going to trim them down. Number of ways to do this. I go right to my bandsaw. You can use a back saw, you can use any method you feel comfortable with. Keep your fingers out of the sharp stuff. At this point, you're probably wondering what these are. These are actually machinist parallels. I was a machinist at one time, and I use these to set up a datum point that I can use my mold to become more accurate in actually plotting where I need things to be. This is a very simple device, plumber's flange, 6-inch nipple. My mold is centered to this, top to back, right to left. I have two little holes drilled here. You can see where my little dowels are sticking in. I will put my mold together, and the key to this is when I put my side set in here, as I close my mold, and I hope I can get this to show up well on the camera, when we close the mold, we actually want the side set to try to come off at the waist. So I will put my sides in, flat side down, I can close my mold on my side set, and you can see maybe a little bit here